One more thing, people, that they're not telling you. Did you know that your body, if you need blood, right? Think of this. In that injection of the vaccine, there's only so many, I don't know, cc's or whatever. But if you need blood, they usually give you about a pint or two, or as much as you need, right? That's a lot of more fluid that has the antibodies to COVID and the changed DNA, RNA in it, and the vaccine in it, right? So you're getting like a double, triple, quadruple dose if you receive blood. Then more than you would get if you were just injected from the vaccines. What they're not telling you is if so many thousands of people are already getting sick, neurologically, blood clots, dropping like flies, heart attacks, myocarditis, you name it, Bell's palsy, all kinds of problems, COVID. If they're getting sick and dropping like flies and they're not telling you this, but it's happening. I know a lot of people who've already died or gotten very sick from the vaccine. Okay, permanently damaged from it. If they donate blood and now you receive that blood and you haven't been vaccinated, especially if you haven't been vaccinated yet, or with the same kind of vaccine, say they got Pfizer and you have Moderna or whatever, right? These are things that they cannot know the adverse side effects to it yet. Because we did this so quickly without a proper 10 to 30 year test run. They just rolled these things out and started injecting people, right? So they cannot honestly, Fauci cannot honestly tell you honestly, hey, this could happen. But let me tell you, in a normal circumstance, if somebody receives blood, there is always, they try their best to match up the blood types, because otherwise your body will reject it. You'll go into like anaphylactic shock and you'll die from receiving blood that's not yours in your veins, right? Well, hello, McFly. If you're receiving vaccinated blood from multiple donors, okay, they might all be, say, O positive or B positive, whatever your blood type is, right? But they're from multiple different people who've had multiple different kinds of vaccines. Some had 3 shots or a booster. Some may have only had 1. Some may have had Pfizer. Some of them may have Moderna, okay? Think about this. And you're going to have all of this junk. Now their DNA, their RNA has now been changed. They've got multiple different levels of COVID in their blood or antibodies to it. They've got multiple different kinds of vaccines in their blood. Now you go and put that in your IV, into your body. There's no telling what's going to happen to you, and you might die, or your body might reject it. I mean, you could reject blood or bone marrow or any kidneys, organs, whatever, anyway. Some people just reject something that's foreign to them. That's always a risk. It's rare, but it's a risk. How much more now are we going to reject blood? I haven't been vaxxed yet, right? So if I receive blood in an emergency and I haven't been vaxxed, but the person who has been vaxxed donated blood and I'm getting vaxxed blood, which I'm going to, right? Because everybody's been vaxxed. What's it going to do to me? I'm going to have the vaccine in my body now. And it could cause myocarditis to me if it did to the person who donated blood. Or it could cause blood clots in me if it did to the person who donated that blood. You know, that person could have died already since they submitted that blood donation. We don't know. And now it's going into my body? And then they're going to say, well, this is why you need to be vaccinated. Because, hey, you weren't vaccinated, so you died, or your body rejected the blood from somebody who was vaccinated. But had you been vaccinated, it wouldn't have rejected it. Baloney. Lies. They're going to tell you that anyway, because they're always going to defend the vax. They're not even talking about this. Why has no one, not on YouTube, not on Facebook, not on the news, Dr. Fauci, not the White House, nobody has mentioned this concern? Nobody. Because it would put people in a panic. The people who don't want to be vaccinated, anti-vaxxers, are never going to trust a vaccine again because you don't know what they're going to do to you in the hospital. You don't know if they're going to put it in your blood, in an IV. If you get a flu shot, you don't know if they're putting stuff in the flu shots, the flu vaccines. You know, you don't know if they're putting the same kind of stuff. How do you know for sure? You don't. You already know that they put a person in power who was not voted in properly. You already know what they're doing. They'll stop at nothing. You can't trust anybody. So don't think that they wouldn't do something like that. You don't know what these Satanists are capable of doing. So you don't know, and I'm not telling you to be paranoid. I'm telling you, you do not realize the extent of power, and they don't care. They will do whatever. What are you going to do to stop them? How are you going to prove it? You can't. It's too widespread. So I'm just saying, be aware. Do not receive blood if you don't have to. And if you do, and your body rejects it, that's probably why. If you end up sick after receiving blood, from blood clots and myocarditis or whatever, all these effects of the changed RNA from the vaccines, that's why. If you die, that's why. If you're not vaxxed and then all of a sudden you receive blood from people who were vaxxed, well, why should you need a vaccine then? You've already got it in your system now, don't you? Because the blood that you took from the donor who was vaxxed is now in your body. So if your body doesn't reject it, it's still going to have the antibodies from the vaccine in your blood now. And those things that change your RNA are going to latch onto your unchanged RNA and start changing it also. So man, we can't trust any vaccines now. We can't trust blood donations. They're not going to, you can't sit there and say, oh, I need blood, but I don't want blood from someone who's been vaxxed. Or I don't want a Pfizer vaxxed person. I want blood donated by somebody who took Moderna. They're not going to be able to test for that. We didn't have enough time to think about these things. They just rolled it out so fast and jabbed everybody with 3 or 4 different kinds of vaccines. This one's Moderna, this one's this one's AstraZeneca, this one's Pfizer. Well, okay. Well, now what do we do, Sherlocks, when somebody needs a blood transfusion for leukemia or an accident and they had a Moderna shot, and you are giving them Pfizer blood or a mixture of blood, 1 pint of Pfizer Vax, 1 pint of Moderna, somebody else from AstraZeneca. Do you have any clue? I'm not even a medical professional. I'm not even a doctor, and I had the brains through the Holy Spirit to pick up on this. God, do you know how many people are going to die? I know they already know this. They've got to know this. They're not stupid. And if the agenda is overall killing off 2/3 of the population of Earth, well, this is an ongoing thing now. COVID is not going to do the job. It's going to be the vaccines and people who are receiving the vaccine who are giving blood, and then that blood goes to somebody who needs it in the hospital, and now they're getting sick and dying. And this is just going to continue. This thing now, once it's out there, it started with the COVID, and then the vaccine was the second lethal blow. Boom, 1-2 punch. And then you got the boosters for a third lethal punch, just in case you didn't die the first 2 times. This thing is going to continue on forever now. You're never going to stop it. Once it's in your body, it's in your body. Your kids will have it. You know, if you give blood to people, they'll have it. Everybody who's been vaxxed is going to have it. Everybody who had COVID has it. Do you see how almost the entire population of Earth, perhaps except those who've been written in the Lamb's Book of Life, are going to have this in their system sooner or later? If it's not forced on them, then they'll do it voluntarily because it's mandated, or they'll do it because by accident they were in the hospital and they were given blood. Do you see? They know this. They know that there's no stopping this domino effect now. I pray to God I don't end up ever needing blood. I'd rather die than receive blood now. I don't ever want another vaccine in my life. I don't want any of this stuff. Leave me alone. Okay, I belong to Jesus Christ. I am my own thing now. I'm Switzerland. Leave me alone. You go and do what you want. Jab yourselves up and take the mark of the beast and serve Satan and your stupid one world government and all that. Leave me alone. Okay, I was here before all this started. I have a right to be here as well. And, you know, I don't care if Satan took over the world. Okay, we knew he was going to do this. I just didn't think it was going to be I was hoping it wasn't going to be in my time, but it is. Unfortunately, God has speed up because of the stupidity. He's speeding up the end times. And so now we're all in trouble, right? Our only lifeline is Jesus Christ. Okay? Our only lifeline, our only hope. Okay? And through the intercession of his mother Mary, we are in trouble down here. And it's only going to get worse. And so, hey, Godspeed to all of us. because now I understand why it says few will enter the kingdom of heaven. Your chances are getting harder and harder with the amount of sin and temptation being thrown on us every day in the world, laws being changed in times in order to force you to sin or to have to accept sin. That can take your soul. If Satan was kicked out of heaven for one sin, if Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden for one sin, what makes you think you and I are going to heaven if we have sin on us? You're not. Do you understand that? If you continue living in sin and you're saying that sin is okay, what does Jesus say? He said he died to cleanse us of sins, but if you continue in your sin, then you're not going to heaven. He also said, woe be to you who call evil good and good evil. In this day and age, everybody's saying what God says is a sin and is evil. Oh, it's normal. Everybody's doing it. It's good. Oh, it's pleasurable. Oh, we even made it a law now, so it's okay. Man had no authority to tell God, well, we're changing things down here. What you said is a sin and abomination is now legal. So we trump you, God, and you know what? We're doing it our way now. We don't have that authority. Nothing changed. Jesus is up there in heaven saying, what did I tell you? I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. My word will never change. Never. And so what I commanded you is still a commandment, and I don't care what you humans say or write into law. You do not supersede my laws. He is God. You do not supersede his laws. But you're trying. And at the peril of billions of souls that are going to burn in hell for that, especially if they embrace it. So Satan and mankind waged war against our Creator when they decided to do things their own way and say, you know what? We're changing things now. Forget tradition. We're modernizing. We're progressive. We're not dealing with that superstition anymore. We're going to change things and make laws now that say it's okay. Men could get married. Men could have babies. Sodomy's okay. Abortion's okay. God's saying no. I never said it was okay. It's always been an abomination, and it still is. And anybody who says otherwise is saying evil is good, and you're going to hell for that. So enjoy your short little ride down here on earth, because you're going to burn for eternity. Shame on you. But those of us who want to be on God's side, who want to keep tradition, who want to be holy saints, who want to obey God, are now being forced by laws to disobey him. And if we don't, arrested, persecuted, killed, so be it. You know what? It was like that during Jesus' time 2,000 years ago. You know what's sad? Mankind never learns from history. It just repeats itself. The stupidity never stops. We just don't learn. We just keep on doing it. Nothing has changed much in 2,000 years. That's pathetic. More than 2,000 years. Thousands and thousands of years. Going back 6,000 to 8,000 years during the Egyptian time. And even further back to Adam and Eve. Ever since the fall, after tens of thousands of years, we still don't get a clue that you don't mess with God and that you don't disobey him and that he's always going to win in the end and that he's God and he said what he said and he meant it. And we still disobey and worse. So, okay, they did it in Sodom and Gomorrah. He warned them. Lot and his family were taken out and his wife didn't listen, so she died as well. And he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Then we have Noah, right? And God saved 7, 8 people? The rest of the entire world was flooded and drowned because they didn't listen and they were doing things like breeding with angels and trying to change the DNA of animals and like making hybrid creatures. We're doing that in labs again now. Jesus warned it would be in the last days, the end times before I arrive, before I return, worse than it was during the days of Noah. Worse than it was during the days of Lot. Well, if it was that bad back then, yeah, it is way worse now. Way worse. Because technology has gotten worse. So, we are in trouble. So I suggest you get your soul and your heart and your house in order and be ready for the Lord, or you're going to be an enemy of his. Now, if you're going to be on his side, with me and many, you're going to be hated by many, and you're going to probably end up being martyred, persecuted, killed sooner or later. So get ready. That's the road to the cross. Or you could try to save your little life because you're a little coward, and you'll just serve Satan instead and burn in hell for eternity as a result. So you better grow up and be a man of God. Grow up and be a real man or a real woman in Christ. Courageous like the saints. And join Jesus to the death if that's what it takes. And put your foot down. Enough of this. Be no longer like this evil world and this wicked, perverse generation. Be these saints and set apart. And yes, you will be hated and killed for it, most likely. But you know what? At least you'll spend eternity in heaven, where we'll laugh about this one day and we'll be at peace and happy for all eternity. Or you be a coward like Satan and all the demons and all of these other people who just want to live for themselves and disobey God and live in sin and take the easier broad road to destruction, because it's just easier. I don't want to lose my house. I don't want people to think poorly of me. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to be killed. So I'll just do this and comply and keep complying and be a slave to the system, and then I'll burn in hell in lava for all eternity. Yeah, that sounds like a real terrific plan. To spare yourself a few years of misery now, you will spend eternity in horrendous misery instead of just going through the misery now by sticking with Christ and carrying your cross and then living in eternity in heaven happy for all eternity. I mean, that's what makes more logical sense. But people aren't thinking like that. They're thinking, I want instant gratification, and I don't want to suffer now. I want to push it off. I want to push off. I'll do whatever they say. And as long as they don't take my house, my job, my reputation, my sports car, my freedoms away, whatever, okay. So they comply, and then they die, and then they burn in hell. Or you could be a Christian like us, and it's not going to be easy for you now, for the few years you have left, but you'll